All right, let's get into it. Little playoff football. I do hate that we go like a month. You know, like Michigan beats OSU, you played a Big Ten title game, and then it just disappears. And we're back. Like college football, the meaningful games, it just sounds very similar. And now we got to fire it up. But I do think Michigan's going to play for it all. So I just want to know if I'm overconfident. And I know it's easier for me to do it because I'm not emotionally invested. It's not my team. Let's go to Jeremy, see what he's got to say. What's up, Jeremy?
Hey, I'm a first-time caller, guys. Moved
Welcome.
up here from Arkansas back in July. I'm a Razorback fan. Go Hogs.
Jeremy,
So I mean,
first of all,
either.
hold on, Jeremy. Can I ask you a question? What the
Sure.
hell with your football team? I feel like you got 20 guys sitting out in the bowl later today. What is going on down there?
You know, I don't know. It's been a tough year.
Yeah,
It's just-
Pittman's a good coach, but this was a really rough year.
Yeah, last year we had a really good year. Everybody was going into this year confident, and I mean, I don't know. We just kind of fell apart.
Yeah, not great. All right, go ahead. What do you got on Michigan TCU? Talk to me.
I think Michigan's got it. I think it's going to be one in the trenches. It may be close in the first half just because they got to kind of feel each other out. They're not used to quite each other's playing style. However, I think that Michigan's going to win it because they're just going to wear them down. And ultimately, I think that's the way the Ohio State-Georgia game is going to go, too. It's whoever can win in the trenches.
Yeah, and I mean, Jeremy, football at the highest levels, that's what it is. And Michigan has a very good, very physical offensive line. And really, you know, for a school that likes to flout, we don't do the transfer thing, we're above it. Their best offensive lineman is a grad transfer from Virginia. Oluwatimi is the best center in America, and he's going to be an NFL player. He has come in and really elevated what they do. I mean, the ability to go out into the well, it's not a portal, it's a grad transfer. I don't care, guys. Okay? I don't care. Because you're into the transfer portal like crazy anyway. So let's just cut the crap. The ability to go get a grown-ass man to come in who's an all-conference player and put him at center. There's no more important position for a running game and getting everybody set and understanding. Like, that's a grown man. It was huge. And I think when you're facing a 3-3-5 and a team that's going to do a lot of stunting, a lot of shifting, stemming, a lot of shooting gaps with their linebackers, dropping safeties, I just have the utmost confidence you're always going to be in the right protection. You're always going to have the right stuff dialed up. And the 3-3-5 is problematic against power ground games anyways. Yes, it changes a little bit of your alignments. Yes, it changes how you have to approach things. But it's still hat on hat. And it's still your strength against a team that has to kind of supplement because they can't line up with you. It's just not what they do. Let's go to Jim, 97.1. Jimmy, what's going on, buddy?
Hey, how you doing?
I'm great.
First-time caller as well.
Welcome.
Calling to you from. Thank you. Calling to you from Riverview, hometown of Lloyd Carr.
All right.
All right. I've been a Michigan fan for 45 years or more, all the way back to the days of Bo. And one thing I can tell you is going through the dark days of Rich Rod, I learned a lot of things. Not the least of which was I don't take any wins for granted anymore, and I don't think that we're automatically going to win games. You know, if you would have told me 30 years ago that we would lose to Appalachian State, I would have laughed in your face, but it happened. So I guess with coming up with TCU, I think we're going to win the game, but I'm cautiously optimistic about it. I agree with everything you guys have been saying. I think, you know, wearing them down in the trenches is the way the game is played, and Michigan does it better than anybody. I like the schemes that Harbaugh has, and he seems to have all the right pieces in place right now.
He's got to crank it. I mean, you know, it's one of those things, Jim, like we never got to do the topic because the season ended, the Lions caught fire. But like one of the things that's interesting, Jim, I don't know who to give credit to. Do I give credit for Harbaugh for surviving, 5 losses in a row to OSU. And I mean, basically he wanted out. He was looking for NFL jobs, but he didn't get them.
Yeah.
Or do I give credit for the school for not firing him, even though it seemed like they were basically hoping he would take a gig? But for whatever way it worked out, and now he's got it rolling.
Yeah. Well, I was at the Big House during the Illinois game, and I can tell you everybody in our section was concerned that we were going to lose that game, and they were getting a little too cocky maybe and too big for their britches. But the way that they pulled it out and they stuck with it and just ground away, that showed a lot to me anyway, that this team's got grit and they can do it. I think they could go all the way. I really do.
Oh, I do too. I do too, because look, and it's not a shot, Jim, it's reality. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. It's a down year in college football. You get one of these a decade. There's no vintage Bama. I think Georgia's very good, but they're not last year's Georgia team. That was a monolith. You're on even terms with these teams. I don't think you're any more than a 4 or 5 point dog to Georgia. What the hell is that? Look, here's the problem with TCU, too, if you want to break this down. TCU is going to have to score high 30s to beat you. Now, why do I say that? Well, when you look at TCU, and again, we've talked about this team all year long on Cash the Ticket. Here are their point totals and wins. 38, 59, 42, 55, 38, 43, 38, 41, 34, 62. Now, they had 2 games. They scored under 34 points. A 29-28 win against Baylor and a 17-10 win, which was the outer space game November 12th against Texas, where Quinn Ewers played blindfolded and should have been benched, but they couldn't bench him because of NIL. They go to the Big 12 title game. They score 28 and lose. They don't. First of all, their games, they play a lot of close games. They don't dominate. Why? Because their defense. Yeah, beat West Virginia 41-31. You know what the score of that game was with 20 seconds to go? 34-31. They threw a bomb on an offsides call for no reason with 6 seconds left. They won 43-40 in double overtime against Okie State. 38-31 against Kansas in a game that was back and forth all day. I watched the whole damn thing. I just don't see it. I don't see anything on this resume that tells me they got what it takes to beat you. And again, when you look at Duggan, look, I just don't see a scenario where Duggan's going to come in and throw for $195, 212, 240. If they're going to beat you, Duggan's got to do something. Really, he's done twice this year. He would have to throw for north of 320, 330. He did it against Baylor to save their ass and win 29-28, and he did it against a horrific West Virginia defense for 341. Other than that, there's nothing on here that's like, oh, yeah, they can get by where Duggan comes in and throws for $124. No. Not going to happen. I mean, believe me, I'd love to tell you TCU beat you. I'm not interested in watching Michigan play for a national title, but I mean, it is what it is. It's cyclical. This is what happens. You had to sit back and watch State do what they did. That was no fun for you. You've watched OSU have their moment in the sun. It's your turn. I'm just telling you, you better get it done this year, because if you don't, you're not going to. Because next year, it's going to be that return to normal, which is SEC teams that don't have holes, or a dominant USC, or a dominant Clemson. Like, you got to take advantage of it now, where there's good in the playoff, not great. It's right here. Let's go to Matt, 97.1. What's up, Matty?
Hey, I'm a Michigan fan, and I want Ohio State. I want them to win. I've never rooted for them in my life, but the idea of getting to beat our most hated rival twice in 1 year, I don't know who wouldn't want to see that.
It's not about not wanting to see it. I think it's about knowing how much harder it is to do it again, twice in a month. That's how I view it.
But I think that I want the chance, though. I mean, I think that's, especially even as a player, that's got to be what they dream about. It's not only did I beat them once, I get to try to beat them again.
No, that's
and
fair.
Win, lose, or draw, at least you got that chance.
That's fair.
I wish they'd put them in separate divisions. They could beat them 3 times, and they could beat them in the championship game, too.
See, but Matt, my point is the rematch should have happened this weekend. You should have been playing them in the 2v3. TCU's clearly, they're clearly the 4. You would have gotten what you wanted. It would have made more sense.
I'll tell you what, though. I hope the players aren't as overconfident as you guys are, because I mean, any of these teams can surprise you. But you gotta be good to get where they're at.
Matt, if players ever have the confidence of fans and radio hosts, that's a real problem. I would think they are thinking entirely differently. But no, I mean, Matt, I don't think I'm saying anything that's wrong. Like, I'm not being flippant about it. I mean, I've watched more TCU football than anyone who's not a season ticket holder. This is a horrendous matchup for them. Now, look, Matt, if they come out on, what is it, Saturday, Sunday night, whatever the hell, Sunday night, Saturday night, if they come out and all of a sudden it's bombs away and your corners get exposed, you give up some big play, you're right, anything can happen. But I have a hard time.
Points in that first half, you would. I mean,
sure.
Michigan lays an egg like they tend to do.
Sure. I just have a hard time believing that it will happen. And look, Max Duggan, Sonny Dykes didn't want Max Duggan. They did everything they could to replace Duggan in the offseason. This is a kid who could have transferred twice in his TCU career. He didn't. Played with a broken foot last year and struggled. They had a quarterback derby. 3 guys were in that derby. You know where Duggan finished? 3rd. They had a kid, his last name, I think it's Miller. And then they had a mobile kid they tried. Duggan got this thing because everybody else died. And in his final year at TCU, it's one of the better stories in college football. But you're not walking in and facing Peyton Manning here. I like Duggan, but he's a gamer. I don't think there's never a point in time where I view Max Duggan as the best quarterback in America. It's Caleb Williams. And as a pure quarterback, I don't think Duggan's as good as Will Levis. I think Duggan is better than Stroud because I don't respect quarterbacks who can't play under pressure. Stroud, the minute anything goes wrong, he bleeps himself. Duggan savors it. I mean, Duggan's a red ass.
Yeah, that's all Duggan does. Watching him play,
yep.
He loves those situations. Look, even if it kills him, he loves those situations.
If he goes out and plays like a transformer, you're right, anything can happen. But Michigan doesn't allow that. They play a team defense. They understand everyone's got a job. Do your job. I don't see it.